5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sweet. Okay, so today we'll be talking about Her and kind of doing our pseudo... What?
Who is Her?
Her is a film by Spike Jonze that was released in 2014.
Yeah.
It's a love story about a man with his computer. And we're just going to be pseudo-reviewing it and kind of talking about some themes and stuff. So, does anyone have anything to start off? I know Meghan talked about some interesting stuff she found out about Scarlett Johansson's voice capture.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool because they were saying that basically, like I read this review, it was done by a whole bunch of like psychiatrists. They did a whole study about it, about how they think that Scarlett Johansson's voice made her seem, like made Samantha seem more real and like able to fall in love with.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of broke it down into like a man between like being in love or being in delusion, because if you think about it, like if she had more of like a voice like Siri had, then like, you know, we
Wouldn't
think
be
he's
as
like
human.
crazy, yeah,
Mhm.
you know, like he's literally like in love with just like a piece of technology. But they were saying that the study showed that because she had a more expressive voice,
Probably because it was Scarlett Johansson's
right,
voice. Oh my
yeah,
God.
Well, because
probably
it was
had something to
emotive.
do with it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
it was expressive, but not to the point where you didn't believe that, you know, she was just a computer. So
Yeah.
it was really, I think she did an amazing job actually doing that.
Yeah.
So
I guess staying on topic, it's probably Spike Jonze's most vibrant film
I think
as
so.
far as the color scheme goes too.
Yeah,
It's some
definitely.
interesting
Oh my
cinematography and a
God,
lot of
yeah.
psychological stuff too. In one of the scenes where it's like a really simple scene where they're showing like a bunch of people walking down the pier or whatever. If you look in that shot, everybody has matching bags, shoes, and belts in some fashion, and every person has one item in their arms. And there's like 100 people in this shot. They're
Yeah.
just walking in and out of the shot.
Synchronicity
So-
and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
it's very strange, and I don't know how I picked up on it. Like, my mom thought it was weird, and I was like, no, can you see what's going on? But
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just had
No,
to-
I mean I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
Also, is that job he has, like, is that an actual thing? Like people that write
Dude, I don't know.
like personalized cards for other people?
Oh, yeah, that was something I wanted to know about. I guess it's just a Google search away.
That's
but-
really, well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's really interesting because, I mean, that kind of adds to that culture that they live in, you know, of like everything's fast paced and stuff. They
But
need a
everybody's
computer
detached.
to manage their time, you
Yeah.
know.
I
And
think
people-
that was detachment was like one of
Detachment.
the biggest things. Like,
oh yeah,
here's
Oh,
people being
shit.
totally
Yeah.
detached from life. You're sending a very personal card the most impersonal way. You're having someone who's good at writing
Yeah.
write the card for you and send it. Yet he falls in love with a program that he can never touch.
well, and not to
So
mention, I mean,
so
detachment's a very big thing.
well,
Go
the whole
ahead.
character himself, like he can't even express his emotions to the people he actually loves, which is, I think,
Right.
a big part of why he fell in love with, like, you know, a computer operating system to begin with. But it was just like ironic to see that, you know, he can express other people's feelings
Wow.
in such like poetic and
Yeah.
powerful ways.
But he can't say it
He
himself.
can't do it himself.
Yeah.
Wow, that's,
So-
yeah, that his job is just a metaphor for like the entire movie.
Yeah.
My God, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Man.
for sure.
I feel like we're seeing the theme of like people falling in love with like the technological characters more and more in like different mediums and like that. So
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, definitely.
it's like you were talking about, what was the show that you were talking about earlier?
Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black
Like-
Mirror's nuts.
Have you seen the second season? Because this is what I was talking to them about.
I've seen like 4 or 5 episodes, and I
Oh, so you
bounced around, so I may have seen.
You probably did because there's only 6 episodes on
White Bear
Netflix.
was pretty strange. The
White
episode
Bear,
White
that's a really
Bear.
good one. I actually just watched that.
Yeah.
But there was one before that that's called Be Right Back, and a woman's husband dies.
Haven't seen
And basically, there's like a program written in order to compile all of his text messages and emails and videos or whatever. You know, they make a note of saying, like, we didn't want to go too personal, so we didn't get into private emails or anything like that. But basically, from there, they make a voice recognition system that is his voice, like it matches his voice pattern, and then she's able to talk to him on the phone, you know? And, you know, it's obviously a computer program, but she's able to talk to him and kind of see his responses, but it's almost exactly like her. I'm pretty sure it came out before her, but, like, she's talking to a program, and he, you know, they'll have, like, almost the same kind of problems, where she is, you know, talking to him, and he looks up something on the internet, and like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, kind of thing, and then she's like, no, it's fine, it just reminded me a lot of her, and that's
Yeah.
another interesting kind of relationship. A lot of Black Mirror is definitely high fantasy and stuff.
Yeah,
but-
like recently I just finished watching Gravity Falls actually.
Mhm.
And there's an episode in there where one of the characters literally like falls in love with this video game character, and then it kind of turns into like this psychological horror type episode where it's like stalking him and like hopping from device to device. It's out there and all that, but yeah, we're seeing that theme more and more with like kind of these like social anxiety characters who can't really develop a relationship like that with another person, and so they reach out to someone who's not a person.
Or just technological relationships in any movie, you know, like an Iron Man, like that the guy with his butler is a complete Jarvis, and he has like quips, and he's like a character, as well as like in a love story form, you know.
Well, now, I mean, even if you go into the future, which we don't know technically what Age of Ultron is about, but the Vision character, the little toy that I've got in there, is played by Paul Bettany, like physically, but also like they're doing this transcendence thing where somehow Jarvis's mind and technology and knowledge particularly goes into the Vision's body. So we don't know how he gets there yet because we haven't seen the movie.
Right.
But I mean, it's right there, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's just strange. Like 60 years ago, you didn't have stories like this.
No way.
Right.
But because of
Concept.
technology being so crazy now, where you can do so many things with technology, we see lots of stories of prevalence about technology taking over, and
so many.
and you know, Transcendence itself was a kind of it was like Wally Pfister's version of a Christopher Nolan film. He didn't do great on it, but it had a lot of points in it that kind of go back to Her and go back to the episode of Black Mirror and Gravity Falls, where it's just there's so much technology involved now that it's becoming part of everyday culture to understand that it could take over. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting you brought that up because I was actually just thinking about that and about how like almost every film that you watch that has some kind of like artificial intelligence, it always kind of links back to like they've developed so far ahead of us that, you know, they're attempting to kill us all now, you know, because you know,
whatever the reason.
It's always something about how we're messing up the planet or something like that. So, you know, like
it does, and Her, they kind of make it look murky. You know, everything looks kind of like foggy. Like every like cityscape shot is like really like foggy and hazy and stuff. But I mean, do you guys know how it ends and everything and all that? Okay, because the way it ends is kind of interesting to me. How they kind of lose their relationship, and then it almost seems like he's liberated from like the computer side of things, because he goes back to his friend's house, which Amy Adams, and he like hangs out with her, and of course the last scene is basically him talking to his wife on the phone. I don't know, I just kind of want to analyze that, just how interesting that is, because after like all this computer relationship has gone on throughout the entire film, finally ends, and would you say he's more comfortable now with like human interaction, or I don't know?
I would say so. I mean, as far as the OSs go, like, I wouldn't say it was just social anxiety too, like as far as it was almost like trying to find like a perfect soulmate and not by like chance, because like they calibrate it and everything, and you know, it asks just a few questions and, like his relationship with his mother and stuff, but I didn't really understand why the OSs decided to leave at the end, but
well, it was like she had reached a point where his intelligence, she couldn't even fake the fact that he didn't have the intelligence that she was craving. Right. That's what I got out of it.
Okay.
Because she's just like, you know, I've reached a point now where I know almost anything about everything. And, you know, you're begging me for my interaction, but like I have a lot of things to study. That's basically her whole attitude at the end of the film, was just like, you're really cool, but you know, there's a lot more out there in the world that I need to know about.
Like people too. I mean,
she was seeing some other program, some other OS, and so that was I actually didn't like that very much. I was like, come on.
Why?
Just the whole operating system dating an operating system thing. I literally lost my suspension of disbelief, if you can believe that, for a movie called Her.
Yeah.
About, you know.
Wait, she was
sentient computer program.
She was
like,
dating.
I don't believe this anymore.
She was dating other operating systems.
She was seeing one that was like just as intelligent as she was.
But that's the thing too. Like he started dating his OS because he felt like he couldn't relate to other humans. So it's almost
he was on beforehand was terrible.
It's circular.
Yeah. Wow.
It's weird.
It's weird. It's a really good movie for sure. I love it.